Hello again. I'm Gil Cloud, Executive Director of Athletics, and I want to welcome you to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Today we'll have 6 football coaches, a sports writer from the Tulsa World, and a new trainer. Stay with us after this. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we're going to visit with Jonathan Brown, the head football coach, Booker T. Washington. Had a rough week last week, Coach, but hope springs eternal. It's playoff time.
Yes, it does, Coach, and it was tough. Our boys didn't play like we wanted them to play. Definitely think we put them in the right positions, just didn't make the plays. When you have 4 turnovers against a good team like Bigsby, the score can get out of hand. And so it's some teachable moments that we've been going through since Saturday to get these boys ready to go. And you got to have a quick turnaround and kind of got to be like a DB on the island. You got to kind of just forget that stuff and move on to the next play. In this instance, we're moving on to the next game, which is Lawton. So trying to get all our guys focused on that.
And that's when you're on a big stage, nationwide stage, and you want to play well and things don't turn out that way. You can put that behind you because everybody's 0-0 now. Mm-hmm. And so we got Lawton. And what do you know about Lawton?
I know they're an extremely hard-hitting team, a fast team. They always have athletes down there. The coach does a heck of a job of preparing them and getting them ready to play. We've played Lawton since I've been here at Booker T probably 4 or 5 times in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So they know us, we know them. It's just players play. We got to go out there and make our plays, stay in our gaps, not turn the ball over, just play with emotion, and hopefully that'll put us in great position to play a good game.
And you get to play at home. Mm-hmm. That's always big to play at home.
Yes, it is.
That first round. Yeah. As you look at your injury situation, how's that?
We don't know about Parker. He's our commit to Arkansas. He set out last week because of a little tendonitis in his knee. He practiced yesterday. I'm supposed to Ryan, our health trainer, is supposed to let me know how he's feeling after that, and so I'll get that diagnosis today. But other than him, Gentry's out for the year. Right. But we're pretty healthy, other than Keywan. But Keywan is a big part of what we want to do. He's a Division I player. Mm-hmm. Every team does not have a Division I player on their team, and so we need him to be ready to go just to do things like how we want to do defensively.
As you look back and reflect, and we don't want to reflect yet because the season's not over, but reflect on your first year. How do you feel about this first year?
I think we're a young team. We've exceeded expectations. And I'm still trying to change the culture there. Each head coach or every head coach wants to mold their program after themselves. Right. And so I'm still in the process of trying to get that done. But I'm extremely happy with where we're headed in the right direction. I think there's some big things that we need to do in the offseason as far as implementing a weight program that's going to be beneficial to our boys to where they're getting bigger and faster and stronger in the offseason and not just waiting to summer pride to get bigger and faster. So I feel pretty good. We just got to go out there and finish the season, but we're a ways from where I want us to be.
Well, and when you look at the pre-preparation, you lose spring practice. Mm-hmm. You lose contact on March the 12th with your student athletes. Summer is a little disjointed because you haven't seen them since March. It makes it for a transition, especially for a new head coach to come in, to set that culture the way you want it, because those things, as you know, happen in that weight room in January and February. What I say is, I used to say when I was coaching, you win games in January, February, March. You just happen to play them in September, October, November.
Yeah, that's how my coach at Tennessee, Coach Former, he had that exact same quote. He was really big on January. You build your program, you build your team in January and February and March. Like you said, we just happen to play in the fall.
That's right.
But that's how you build your team. And to piggyback that point, with not having spring, and then summer pride, and then how we had to do our weights. We had to pull all the weights out. We couldn't really, we couldn't get in the weight room with other than about 10 or 15 people, and so we just had to get by. That's the year that we had. And so we lost a little bit with that, but I'm not making any excuses.
No.
Because we're not in an excuse business. We still got to get ready to play, but that definitely didn't put us in good position.
Well, and I think what epitomizes that, Jonathan, is when you have a younger team.
Yes.
You got to set that tone for those younger players to step up, and then you got to find the leaders with your older players, and those young kids have to relate to them.
Yes.
And if there's not a relationship there, you can't you can do some things virtually, but you don't set a team virtually.
That's a good point. Like you can't, and that's a really good point, because from March on, they had no social interaction with each other. They couldn't come around. They couldn't push each other in sprints. They couldn't push each other on the bench press. And so they were all tweeting and stuff like that. And, it's just, to build a team, you got to be there together.
Absolutely.
Blood, sweat, and tears in the weight room, running sprints and all that stuff. And, just with COVID, this is just one of those crazy years. And just got to hopefully, build upon that. But I'm very happy. Like I say, I think the program is going in the right direction and trying to build that culture that we want. And so we're just going to keep on working.
Well, we'll be excited to see how the playoffs go, and then as you get into off season, I think it's really going to be one of those things that will be good for our program in the long run. You've done a good job, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to have Kip Shaw, the head football coach at Central High School.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hill has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Air filter, cardboard box, toy car. The correct answer is cardboard box. Paper and cardboard are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart, but air filters and toys should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the head football coach of the Central Braves, Kip Shaw. Kip, boy, a big win this past Friday.
It was exciting. Kids played hard, scored a lot of points, and played good defense. So it was a very exciting win.
That's got to be a positive coming into the playoffs now.
I think that gives us a good leg up. We've been pretty good the last few weeks, and hopefully we're starting to realize just what it takes to win ball games right as we're going into the playoffs this Friday.
Well, you get to host a home game. That's got to be big.
That's big, and my understanding is that hadn't happened in a while at Central, so it's exciting anytime you can play at home and able to play in front of your crowd, and hopefully we get a lot of people out to support us.
So talk about your opponent.
Our opponent is Locust Grove. They score a lot of points themselves. We've watched them over and over and over. They're very, very long. They've got some great football players out there. It's not going to be easy by no means. Hopefully we can keep doing the right things that we've done the last few weeks, and it helps us. They've got a big defensive line. We've got to be able to establish the run game. We've got to play well on defense. They've got a quarterback that throws pretty good, and he can run around and make things happen. So I look for a good, exciting football game.
So they throw better or run better?
They throw the football better. They put up a lot of points themselves. We've been able to kind of go back and we've hunted down some film against them and Webster, and you've seen them how where the quarterback has a very strong arm, and he does some things that should play into our hands. We're pretty good at skill position in the secondary. So I told my kids they're going to get plenty of work this week.
Well, I can imagine when they have to defend against KT during the week that they've seen a little bit of throwing, huh?
They get it every day. You know,
Yeah.
he does a good job. Our receivers are really good. So, you know, our secondary has an opportunity to go against a really good set of receivers and quarterback every day.
That makes a lot of difference, I think, as you prepare for when you have an opponent like that, if they've seen it in practice.
It does. It makes a big difference. And, you know, our goal as coaches at Central is we try and make practice harder than the games. And that way the games come easy to them. And fortunately enough, we have a quarterback and receivers and a running back in Jewel Hamilton that can do that. We've got to get better on the offense, defensive line. That's just where we're young. But, you know, our trouble comes when a team rears up against us and say, hey, we're just going to run this ball down your throat. And, you know, we struggle a little bit with that, but we've gotten better. And that's the key to everything. Just keep getting better.
The preparation as you get ready to play at this time of the year is certainly relevant to injury. How's your injury situation?
We've been pretty fortunate. KT, unfortunately, last week against Jay, stepped in I call it a big divot out there and tweaked his ankle, but he finished the game. For the most part, we've lost one defensive end that he's going to be gone for the season with a knee injury. But for the most part, we're pretty healthy. We've got everybody that we need to be successful, and, you know, we just have to come out. Our biggest thing is we're not used to preparing this time of year. The weather been fortunate enough, it's been pretty good for us.
Yeah.
You know, if it gets cold, I worry about my kids. We don't handle the cold real well, so hopefully we can keep being successful.
Well, it's going to be in the 60s, I think, this week. It's cold today, but I think as we get to game time, I think, as I said, it's going to be 55 to 60 degrees. So that's pretty good football weather.
Oh, yeah. It beats the weather we had a couple weeks ago when it was raining and cold and we were outside. It was an eye-opener for my kids.
Well, as you get through this year, obviously one of the most unique years that any of us have ever spent in this business. What's your takeaway from this year? What effect has that had on your student athletes and being in virtual learning and not being together every day and so on?
I think it's had a big effect on it. Usually you're able to build some kind of camaraderie outside of the locker room where the kids see each other each day in school. You know, I will say one of the things that helped us is when TPS implemented study hall. That's kind of helped bring that classroom feeling back on Mondays. And now we're not out on the field practicing, getting yelled at. We're in that team room. We're sitting in there together. You know, coaches are going over work with them. So they see it in a different light, and that's helped us. But, you know, this is one of the strangest years I've ever had in the 51 years I've been on this earth. And it's definitely the last 25 years coaching football. You know, I'm most proud of my kids for being resilient and fighting through it. We've been fortunate enough. We've been able to play all of our games but one. Duncan canceled on us. We played every district game. So, you know, it's just one of these things I hope we never go through again.
Well, it's certainly a once-in-a-lifetime situation, we can hope. And, well, this is my 51st year in the business. And I've never been in one of these like this. But, you know, I think in athletics, what we've tried to do, when we brought them back, we were the first ones to bring them back in June to campus. Yep. We were the only group be on campus. And then, like you said, I think the study hall was something that we felt like was quintessential to rebuilding that team core that we wanted to have in there. And I'm glad you feel that way, because I know that there were some that were opposed to having study hall. But you know, in the long run, there were other benefits other than just the academic part of it. Yes. And I think that's a good thing. Well, you got Locust Grove tomorrow night at Milton Stadium. And it's certainly going to be, I think, an exciting time for Central to be in the playoffs. And hopefully you can go to round 2, and we'll be back next week worrying about that one.
Yes, sir.
All right. When we get back, we're going to have Tony Daniels, the head football coach and athletic director at Edison.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart, but string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have Tony Daniels, the head football coach and director of athletics at Edison High School. Tony, interesting season.
To say the least, I guess, yes.
You know, with everything going on outside of athletics, and then you have a year where you had a lot of seniors last year. You knew it was going to be rebuilding. Is it better or worse than you expected?
I think as the grand scheme of everything, I think it's worse. And it's not worse necessarily for the kids. I think it's just worse in the sense of weight room. It's worse in the sense of just trying to get everybody together, offense, defense, special teams, all on the same page, where we have a film room, we have top-notch facilities that we have over there, but we're only able to get a few, in there at a time. So just trying to make sure we're getting everybody on the same page. I mean, we talk to the kids about dealing with adversity when we're in a regular routine. So now that we're facing adversity and where we're at right now, not only are we preaching it, but we got to show the kids, that what adversity, really truly is, and us facing it as a coaching staff, as a team, managers, trainers, all of that.
I think a lot of people don't realize the camaraderie that is established on any team, but especially a football team, because you have such large numbers and you have more coaches, and not to be able to bring them together in a learning situation. I think we're seeing that academically. Learning virtually is a lot more difficult on students, and to try to be able to put together a game plan and have it manifest itself as a team sport at the end of the week, if you're not really together during the week like that, a lot of people on the outside of the program don't understand that.
No, it's been very challenging. My staff and I feel like we've done a good job of just trying to maintain, trying to do what's best for the kids, and just trying to help them out, because not only are we trying to help coach football and win football games and do different things, but we're also still, trying to teach them to be young men. We're still trying to teach them in today's society and the pandemic and everything, just how to be a better person, how to wake up and get out of bed and make it a good day, because it's very easily where you can lay in bed as much as you want, and do schoolwork, in that. And it's definitely trying times, but I think that we've done the best that we could, that we can, and we just keep striving to be better each day.
I think that's interesting, when you stop and think about this group, especially seniors, finishing their last year in a pandemic. And probably 3 years ago, they didn't even know what that word was. They had never heard that word before. And so to try to continue a football season with all of the surrounding things that we have had to put up with, very difficult. Well, it's playoff time in Oklahoma. That's what it's all about, is to get to the end of the season, get the playoff time. You've drawn Tahlequah. How do you feel about your first round game?
We feel pretty confident. Everybody's 0-0, 0-0, and that's what we spoke to our kids about yesterday. And anything can happen, and it's one of those things that both offense, defense, and special teams, with our group especially, we get all three of those going. Mm-hmm. We've shown that we can compete with a lot of people. So they're very well coached. They do a really good job. One of our former coaches are down there right now, and the kids are looking forward to that opportunity. But just as an overall, our last game wasn't last week. We were able to move forward and go ahead and play another game, so we're excited about that.
That's always exciting. In the 0-0 thing is so true, because teams come to fruition sometimes during the playoffs. Everything that you've worked for all of a sudden comes together. You'll be playing on the NSU campus at the stadium there, and it should be an exciting first round game, I think, in 5A. How do you feel about in the last minute here we got about this year? Everybody that wanted to play can play in the playoffs. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I think I've been up and down on that. Just, we were only able to get 9 games in, so this would be a 10th game for us. Everybody, and it's not just us, it's not just Tulsa Public Schools, it's not, it's just everybody in the state of Oklahoma. There are a lot of teams that have missed a lot of games. It gives them an opportunity. For those seniors, I sit here as an athletic director and think, man, soccer last year, baseball, the sports that were in the spring that missed out with those seniors. Right. And now we do have some seniors this year that are kind of going through the same thing, but they're able to still participate. We just want to try and get them in as many opportunities as we can and get them the most exposure as we can.
You're right. I think that's the thing that we sometimes forget about, because this group certainly will remember their senior year. There's no question about it. Lack of fans in the stands and everything that goes along with the pandemic. But, well, listen, good luck this week, tomorrow night at Tahlequah, and hopefully you'll be able to get a first-round win and move to the second round.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to have Michael Goedecke, one of our new district trainers.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have one of our new trainers, Mike Goedecke, district-wide trainer, and it's one of our new hires that we're trying to expand our sports medicine program. And Mike, we're glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the athletic training and your academic training to be a trainer.
All right. Well, so first, I started high school. I did it all through from 8th grade up until I graduated. It actually wasn't my first choice when I went into college. I wanted to be a music teacher, then found out from the music director that I can't sing. So that was kind of out. So I decided to try athletic training, and I went to OSU and worked with basketball, track, the football team. Graduated and then went down to New Mexico for my master's. My master's in sports administration. Went to worked soccer and then helped out with basketball. Thanks to athletic training, I've got a lot of travel in the past 6 or 7 years. Then after grad school, I went to Florida. But I also don't like Florida; it's too hot.
Yeah,
It's middle of Florida, August. Way too much humidity. Did soccer, then in the spring worked with women's lacrosse. Got to go experience a national championship. Went to Denver. They won the national championship for women's lacrosse. Got a nice ring that doesn't fit on my finger.
there you go.
The rock is about that big. And then went from there. Went to NSU. Went for a couple of years. Started to learn the more administrative aspect of being an athletic trainer, ordering and graduate student mentoring and teaching, and then now I'm here.
There you go.
Now learn the world of high school athletics versus working with 18 and above students who are not, most of them are not just down the street from home.
Sure. It is a little bit different aspect when you're dealing with high school as
It
a
is.
student because you have high school parents as well.
Oh yeah, that's been a big learning curve, having to make myself talk to the parents and keep them in the loop. Whereas with college, I can just take them to the doctor and not have to get mom and dad's permission.
Sure. So as you move into this, and we've expanded our program to be able to better serve our student athletes. Prior to that, we had 2, going to 3 now. We're able to divide up that 3,000 plus students that we have in secondary athletics. Which are your schools that you'll be servicing?
So I've got Edison, Webster, and then Central. So I've got the way we broke it up. It was I get 1/3 of the district, Steve's got 1/3, and then Terrell's got the whole of the section, so we're not crisscrossing the district.
And that's one of the things that we wanted to accomplish when we moved to 3 certified athletic trainers, is to have better service for and have somebody that's recognizable in the building to the coaches and the student athletes. I think that's important. What do you think? What's the highest rate of injuries that you see, say, during the course of a week or a month?
Gosh, for the most part, it's general ankle sprains. The kid that they just take a wrong step, or like with football, they cut and get hit, and body doesn't go where foot stays. Basketball, they come down off a layup and ankle just hits at a weird angle, or like with soccer, they take a weird touch or get tackled mid run. It's for the most part, it's pretty let's say mundane, but not really catastrophic injuries. It's the one that they miss a couple weeks, or they hurt it, limp around for a couple of days, and then once it has a chance a weekend to calm down, Monday either they get to go right back into it.
We had a huge push there for a while. It seemed like on concussion was major for everything. How does that work now?
I mean, concussions are still really a really big focus, especially with all the literature that's coming out, and now we've got the helmets with football that we can track, not just the hits that result in an acute concussion, but all those ones that they accumulate over a season. It may not be the one time and okay, now you have a concussion, but over 3, 4, 5, 6 games, you get hit, and that 7th one, it's just the final straw. It's just barely enough to now you have something that needs to
I think that's one of the things that we haven't talked enough about is the helmets that we purchased this year that do have the diagnostic aspect of it, where we can track the severity and how often those hits are, and how often they're in the same place on the helmet. I think it's important.
I think for the most part, the coaches seem to really like having that tool in their pocket to be able to track the player that may not be having symptoms, but they did see got hit really hard.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we're glad you're here,
I'm
and
glad
thank
to
you
be a
for
part of
being
the team.
on today, and good luck throughout the year.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to have Parker Childress, the head football coach at Will Rogers High School.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Air filter, cardboard box, toy car. The correct answer is cardboard box. Paper and cardboard are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But air filters and toys should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLain, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard, because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show what they're good at.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have Parker Childress, the head football coach at Will Rogers High School. Well, Parker, what a year it is here. All the pandemic and everything we got going on. We open a new stadium late, but we got to win in the stadium. Let's talk about that.
Obviously, the Cinderella story would have been great on opening night to get the win over East Central. Unfortunately, we came up a little short there, and the morale of the team kind of took a dip after that. Everyone was really excited to open that brand new stadium, and we kept working, kept the kids motivated, and ended up having a really good week of practice against Durant. It was right before that nasty weather came through, and our coaches met, and we had a really good game plan set up, and we were confident going into that game that we could pull out a victory. And we ended up having a last-minute drive down the field, 95 yards in 90 seconds. It was, like I said, it was one of the best football games I've ever seen, ever been a part of for sure. So it was a great moment for Rogers football.
Well, we were glad to be there. My wife and I attended that game, and I think there were 16 seconds left when we scored there. And it was very exciting. I know it was something that your student athletes look forward to, obviously, because of all the work that they've done in the program. But when you have a win like that and moving in the new stadium, and one of the things I've talked with some of the other coaches about, it's been a difficult year from the standpoint that since March, there hasn't been that day-to-day camaraderie until we started practice in the fall. We had weights in the summer. That was a little bit virtual, as people say. So how do you feel about the progress that your team has made, given all of the outside forces?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, like you were talking about, it was a weird spring football and summer football. We can't even really lift weights. Groups of 10. That's not. You're not building camaraderie in groups of 10. It's hard to do that. So, getting them into football mode in the fall was difficult. Was interesting. But recently we've had our numbers kind of slowly falling due to other sports starting up and kids that knew they were going to go play a different sport and were some younger kids. But I've got about a group of 35, 40 kids that are the core of my team right now that have really, really bought in. In fact, yesterday we did a little film session and a weightlifting session, and it was cool to get to go see those kids kind of getting back together in that team building mode that is what the weight room's for in football. At least it's that's what you're doing in the weight room. It's you're getting stronger, but it's all about pushing each other and watching each other, make strides in your strength and conditioning.
And that makes it difficult when you have a young team and you miss spring practice. You essentially miss probably at least 2 months of off-season conditioning, the March and April, before you get to spring practice. And then a fairly disjointed summer program, with the social distancing and everything we had to do there. To get to this point, it's going to be one of those things, I hope, for all of our teams, is that whenever that last game is, my God, this is already the last game.
I know.
We want to get on and move on. Hopefully, if the pandemic wanes somewhat, we hope, we can get into an off-season mode, which will help a number, because we have a lot of really good young players across the city. And I think it'll make a difference in the level of our football. So as you look forward, this year, a very interesting year where the association says everybody qualifies for the playoffs. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I know that at first, when last week it ended, we were slated to end 8th in our district, but East Central beating Edison kind of gave us a gift, I guess you would say, and put us into 7th, where we're going to play Pryor now, which we would have played Collinsville, and Collinsville is a very, very, very good team. Pryor's still a good team, but they match up better with us. They're not as physical as a Collinsville team. So that was kind of a good news on Saturday morning to wake up from a phone call from the Pryor head coach, not the Collinsville head coach. And it kind of transferred over to the team, where it's like, okay, we have a chance to play a team that we at least can match up in the skill position wise equally with them, maybe. Depends on if their quarterback's hurt or not. Their really good quarterback got injured last game, and we'll see what happens with him. But we're excited to be in the playoffs. I'll take a playoff berth, however you
sure,
get it.
Yeah. Right? What does that week mean? An extra week or more if you win? What does that mean to your program?
I think it kind of sets the tone for what we're striving for in the future. Is we want to play into November. I don't like ending my season November 4th. That's not the goal. The goal is to play into December, right? To get to the finals. That's every team's goal at the beginning of the year. So I think it's a really good thing, like I said, with the young kids, to change the tone. Is our expectation is to make the playoffs. We don't want to just play 10 weeks and be done. We want to play 12, 13, 14, whatever it takes. So I think it's a good transition into changing what our expectations are as a team, as a staff, especially.
I think anytime you get into postseason play, like you say, no matter how you get there, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
They talk about the ring is the thing, and you can't get one unless you get that
For
first
sure.
round.
For sure.
So, injury-wise, are you okay?
My really good senior running back and linebacker, Rotarius King, is out with a concussion. He's had 2 concussions in about 4 weeks, and he's been cleared, but I'm not going to put him back out there. He's got enough tape to get to the next level, and I care too much about his brain and his future to put him back out there. It's a big loss for us on both sides of the ball. He's our leader in the huddle on defense, and without him, our running game, it suffers a lot without him on the offensive side. But we're going to do what's best for him and his future for sure.
One of the things that we've done, as you know, because of the pandemic, we postponed our junior high season. And so you're going to finish up here in November, and then we're going to start in January with junior high. How do you feel about that?
Well, I get to do football year-round, right? It's going to be fun. The good thing about Rogers is our high school staff is going to assist with the middle school process, which we see as a really big tool, because you get to work with the 8th graders that you are going to inherit the next year. So it's almost like an extended spring football time with those guys, which they're not allowed to participate, obviously, in spring football. So we see that as a really good developmental time. And some of our players that don't play other sports are going to be out there kind of mentoring some of those younger kids and see what it's all about. So I'm excited about it. It's obviously going to make for a long year for my wife and my coaches' wives and family. I understand that, but we're excited. I think it's kind of a cool deal. We get to play on Saturdays. It's going to be kind of an interesting season for sure for middle school sports.
Yeah, it'll be a lot different. I think the week to week, and then we finish up with that, and we go spring break, and then we go to spring sports. So we may have found something. We may be better off than the USFL in some of those places, being able to play in the off season.
Sure.
But we certainly look forward to this playoff game this Friday night and everything. You'll be playing at Pryor.
Yep.
At 7:30, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Gates open at 5:30.
There you go. And everybody, I think, knows that it's easy to get to Pryor on Highway 20 and move on down the road. So, Parker, good luck this year. I think as you go into the off season, things will get much better at Rogers. I think really excited about the stadium there and what I think the future will be. So
great things to come, right?
Good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing. When we come back, we're going to have Willie Ponder, the head football coach at McLain.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Well, welcome back. This is our last football coach today. This has been a football show because the playoffs are on us, and we have Willie Ponder, the head coach of McLain High School. And Willie, it's always great to get to postseason. Had a big win Monday night.
Yep.
And boy, it's kind of tough playing 2 games in a week, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's like my AD Coach Johnson was saying, we got 3 in 8 days.
big difference. I think it just goes along with this season, with the COVID and just how 2020 has been. But it's always great to get a win.
Good to get a win right before you go into the playoffs.
Yeah,
and score 40 points.
And score 40 points.
Yeah.
You know, that hadn't seen that in a while. Team responded well. You know, Stillwell's a good football program. Good coaching over there. We made a few adjustments, and the kids just came out and played. I mean, that was my message going into it. Even after Friday night, said we got to come back and turn around and play Monday, and then we got to play Friday. So we need to get a win somewhere in here so we can keep winning and have that feeling for Friday and get some belief. So it's tough, but hey, we got to adjust.
Tell us about some of the kids that have made a difference in your program, you think, this year.
Yeah, man, I had a quarterback that transferred in Goedecke Porter. Great kid, great attitude. He's a leader. I had some freshmen step up out of that Monroe feeder program that first year. I think I got a couple, but this past year, I mean, I have about 5 or 6 freshmen that's contributing from that Monroe program. Dennis Nolan, great athlete. Micah Simmons, had a couple of linemen, Quaylen Kinder that played well last night. Nia Parker. I mean, these are all freshmen that was and are contributing on varsity football for me right now.
Well, that looks good for the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And just want to keep building on it. Going into year 3 here, kind of COVID thing kind of slowed it down, and a lot of adjustments was needed to be made. But I think the kids responded well. Early on, I was telling our kids, I mean, we started off with a victory versus Central, then it kind of, you know, we had some tough ones, a 5A, a 6A. But I remember just telling the kids we're losing different. And, you know, that didn't sound right. They didn't understand it. But I had to tell them. And what I meant by that was we're in games in the fourth quarter. My first couple of years here, we wasn't. I mean, we're getting that. That's another team. Can we roll that clock, you know, when it comes fourth quarter? But the team, I see the big difference, which is grades, kids buying in, and the wins will come. Freshmen stepping up, you know, and it's just good things, and it's moving in a good direction.
Well, I tell you what, that the attitude of your feeder has got to be gratifying for you as a head coach, where they really want to blend and keep those kids in the feeder system.
Yes, and I love it. And obviously, at the end of the year, I try to get over to Monroe as much as I could in the evenings, and I think that kind of worked out. Because at the end of the year, I was making sure that I went over to Monroe to go see those kids, and that is our feeder. And I think that worked out because I got a majority of them this year. I mean, you know, last year at the end of the year, I went into Wagner with 18 kids. You know, if anybody knows 4A football, you go into Wagner with 18 kids, it's not going to be a good.
No, it's not good.
It's not going to be very good. But I think I averaged 33 kids on the sideline this year. You know, obviously we started out with bigger numbers, but it wasn't a big drop off.
Right.
And big part of that, it was my freshman class. They stand in there strong, and they're help building the program.
Well, when you look at that, and because of the pandemic, you know, we made the decision to have junior high football in February and March. Is that going to be a plus for you?
Big plus, because for one, I mean, I'll be teaching, but I want to be there. I want them guys to see me. I'll be at every game. It's not, you know, usually if they would have been playing when we're playing, well, those games on Monday nights? No, JV's Monday nights. I think they play on Thursdays. They played on Thursdays. Well, we're either finishing up practicing, then I'm finishing up game planning and tightening things up, so I didn't get a chance to get to a lot of those junior high games. But they will see me this year. We got a great coach we hired over there this year, and it's a good deal going on over there at Monroe, and they will see me, and I'll continue to be around.
Well, I think Rob Kaiser, the principal, is 100% in favor of the program.
Yes.
Certainly will help keep those kids in line as they move both academically and athletically, which is important.
Yes.
I think. Well, we get ready to go, and last March we get shut down. And with a young team like you had, that had to put you at a disadvantage with no spring practice and really limited summer workout, and then 2-a-days, getting everybody back in the fold was difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember just like it's a long season, but I think we didn't tackle until All City. And if I'm remembering correctly, we didn't get pads until maybe a week before All City, without no spring ball, with having a chance to get that done. So it was a big adjustment, but I think my kids responded well. It was just a big adjustment, Coach, and when things hit in March and grades, kids, I don't like I tell my kids, let's try to limit our excuses and let's just understand what we got going on and let's just do better. If you know better, do better. But I know for my kids and my demographic in my area that the whole process since March has been tough, but they're responding well.
Well, I think that's the case, and if we can get through this Thanksgiving, winter break, and get them back on campus on the 4th of January, that's going to be good for everybody, I think, especially the off-season program as you plan to go in next year. And of course, with that number of freshmen, you got to be excited about next year.
Yeah, very excited. I hadn't told you yet, but I may be needing to order a few more jerseys. But
that's always a good problem.
That's always a good problem, because there was a game early on this year. I mean, I maxed out. I was thinking, when I got the job, if I can carry 40, we're doing good. At McLain, if I can keep 40, and there was a time where I had 2 or 3 guys sat on the side, say, "You didn't get a jersey today." But that was, the process. I'm like, look at it. I was telling my coaching staff, numbers are here. We got to keep them here.
It takes 3 to 4 years to build a program really get it.
And it's getting there, Coach. Yes, sir.
Well, we're certainly glad that you finished the season with a big win on Monday, and hopefully on Friday you can continue that string and go into the playoffs, and look forward to getting into off season after the first of the year and keep those kids there.
Yep.
Good luck in the playoffs, Coach. And when we come back, we're going to have Mike Brown from the Tulsa World, and he's going to give us a rundown of each class and who he picks to win the state championship.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Air filter, cardboard box, toy car. The correct answer is cardboard box. Paper and cardboard are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But air filters and toys should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Today we have a special guest, Mike Brown, Tulsa World sports writer and guy who is a guru in high school sports.
A guru.
Boy, Michael, this is quite a year that we're experiencing. It started on March the 12th, and it has continued through the fall. One of the nuances this year that the OSSAA came up with was because of the number of cancellations across the state. They felt like it would be fair in football for the first time ever to let all teams qualify, if they wish, for postseason play. How do you feel about that as a sports writer?
Well, it makes it a little busier. And you know as well as I do, there are some teams on this bracket that are not going to win the state title in their class. There's, when you start the year with 1s versus 4s in the first round, there's a lot of mismatches. It's easy to pick games that first week. You just pick the home team and you're going to hit about 50 out of 60. With this, there's a lot of mismatches when you're matching 1 and 8, 2 and 7, and I'm talking about the seedings from each district, as you know. But I'm not sure how do I feel about it? I think it's okay.
I think they were trying to get to a point of equity because of the cancellation of the number of games that were canceled. But I think you're right. I can only think in my mind, looking at the state right now, there's only I think one team that really benefited from that, and that's Tulsa Central.
Will Rogers might have benefited from it.
They could, but the Central has won 3 out of their last 5 games.
That's true, and on a roll right now.
Correct.
And with KT Owens coming back to the team in mid-season, probably better than their record would indicate.
I would think so, and it's a shame he wasn't there earlier, but he wasn't, and now he is, and so you play for this week, and that's what you worry about.
I don't know if it means anything to anybody, but I think that because you have those bye dates in the 2 6A divisions, everybody in the I get the idea that this the thing about putting everybody in the playoffs kind of grew out of the fact that people were in the larger classes were saying, well, we've got an extra week, why don't we just put everybody in? And I may be wrong, but I think that was the discussion to begin with.
Well, I think it started out as a 6A only discussion.
Right.
And then it just kind of manifests itself across all the classes. And so we'll see. Basketball's been that way forever. Everybody goes to basketball,
Basketball's a little different sport.
Yeah, yes, it is. A lot different sport, I think. Well, since we're in that, let's talk about that because you've covered these teams in literally all classes. So let's talk about 6A1. What do you think about 6A1?
Well, as I told you, I don't think I'll be the only person to say I think Owasso is going to win it all. An interesting situation in Jinx's district. Jinx and Owasso played in last year's championship game. By all rights, appear to be the 2 best teams, but Jinx will, because they had 2 cancellations, one with Edmond Santa Fe. They in the way they're going about it now with total wins, not winning percentage or anything else. Jinx had 5 district wins. And, you remember that Jinx had the incredible forfeit at Enid that.
Right.
I want to know what it costs to put a team of 50 or 60 guys and all your squad and take it out there to turn around and come back without playing a game.
Exactly.
But because Jinx finishes with 5 district wins, Santa Fe finishes with 6, Jinx finishes second in the district and will have to play Owasso in the semifinals if it comes to that.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're set up for another great Union Broken Arrow game in the second round if both of those teams win, and I think they will. So probably Owasso was going to be a tough team to beat before this season ever started.
Right.
They've proven to be really good.
Well, what about 6A2?
I don't think I'll surprise anybody if I say that Bixby and Stillwater will probably play again. Last year, I think it was the best game of the year in the 6A2 championship game.
I do too.
Go ahead.
Let's move on to 5A. Who do you think 5A? Is that a wide open one?
I'm picking Carl Albert. They're going for their 5th straight state title. Their loss to Bixby this year was their third loss in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a lot of good teams around here. Coweta is really good, and Collinsville is really good,
Mm-hmm.
and Bishop Kelly is really good.
Yeah,
So
that's why I said I think it is. If there's a year that Carl Albert could get beat, this might be the year.
Could be.
Now 4A.
4A, I think I'm picking Wagner.
Wagner perennial in 4A.
Whoa, have they given up 40 points all year?
No,
Or
their defense is really, really
like
good.
that.
What about 3A?
I'm gonna, I said the Stillwater Bixby game last year might have been the best game of the year, and one of the best games this year is probably going to be if Lincoln plays Holland Hall in the championship game. Lincoln is really strong. I watched them demolish Beggs in the first game of the year. The very superior defensive team, but and they're ranked number 1. Holland Hall's 2. I probably won't. I'm going to go with Holland Hall.
Holland Hall
to win there if those two teams make it to the final.
Well, that pretty well wraps us up because we're just out of time. But I really appreciate you being here, and we'll be back after this.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Certainly, and hope you enjoyed the show today. We had our football coaches on for the playoffs, and Mike Brown from the Tulsa World to tell us what he thought about it, and our new trainer, Mike Goedecke. I want to make sure that everybody understands that when you come to Tulsa Public Schools facilities for athletic contests, we do have a mandatory mask rule. So don't show up without your mask because you won't be allowed to enter, and you need to leave the mask on while you're in the grandstand. Make sure that you see what times the games are. We're playing at home this week at S.E. Williams. Booker T plays Lawton, and at Milton Central plays Locust Grove. Both games start at 7 o'clock. We'll be back next week with more Inside Tulsa Athletics.